Well, it's a crazy story you've been wanting to tell, but there's never been a thread specific enough for it. It's about a friend of mine named Will who got herpes. Here's his story. I met Will in elementary school and we became fast friends. We were thought of as pretty cool back then because we knew what sex was, kinda, and we made a lot of poop jokes. This is what made you cool in 5th grade, I guess. Well, in 6th grade, we were forced to go our separate ways as Will went to a private school while I went to the local public school. Unfortunately, we drifted apart because of this and I didn't see Will again for years. About a third of the way through senior year of high school, I received some exciting news. Will was transferring to my high school. Well, next week, Will arrived and he was a changed man. Will liked drugs, lots of drugs. I like drugs too, but not nearly as much or as many drugs as Will. Will experimented with pretty much any drug you can think of and was on something pretty much all the time. A few examples. Will liked to do MDMA in class. I have no idea how he was able to do this because I can't sit still or be quiet while rolling. Frankly, that sounds like hell. He was high on acid a lot. He took a lot of that in class. One time he was drunk for about 3 weeks straight because he was afraid of the hangover he would get when he finally sobered up. Suffice to say, the kid liked to be fucked up. One day, Will was at his house hanging out with another friend of ours named Eric. Will decided to smoke some crack. The crack must have made Will pretty horny because he went on Craigslist to find a hooker. He found a cheap drive to your house hooker on Craigslist that was only $100. The picture was pretty hot too. Picture a hot Italian chick with long brown hair, bright eyes, and a pretty substantial rack. Will decided that she was the one he wanted, so he stole $100 from his little brother and called the number. Now, if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's this. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. In this instance, this proved to be correct. About 45 minutes later, a beat-up old black car pulls up to the driveway and outwalks the hooker. She did not look the same as the picture. In fact, she didn't look even close to anything like the girl in the picture. The hooker was not a young Italian chick, but a middle-aged black woman. She was about 180 to 200 pounds and was probably about 45 years old. I later asked Will if it wasn't what you thought you were paying for, why did you do it? To which he responded, well, most hookers carry guns and I didn't want to get shot. Which I replied, why didn't you just give her the money? His answer was that he didn't think about that because he was high on crack and extremely horny. I thought that was a good enough excuse. Well, to make a long story short, Will did the dirty deed with the dirty hook. A few days later, he had a burning sensation when he peed, so he went to the doctor. Unfortunately for him, it was herpes. He later told me that his dick looked like Wolverine tried to eat it. Here's the kicker, this is his virginity story. Yeah, he lost it to a hooker and got herpes. On the bright side, he's doing much better now as he went through rehab and is now in college working on getting a degree. I'm also pretty sure he's still drug-free.